Hey, what up, YouTube types? We are live here at the Smash News Network, least busted name of news. And I was supposed to name this video something else, but we'll rename that later. If you're viewing in syndication, make sure you leave us a comment and let us know where you're coming from, as we're always interested to hear the location of our viewers. So we'll briefly talk about space weather today, and it's pretty calm out there, pretty calm. So, and by the way, if somebody's telling you to be spooked of space weather, well, they're doing it wrong. Um, because space weather just not spooky. Astronomy, not spooky. Cosmology, not spooky. Space, not going to kill you. So, there's that. What's interesting is my friend Eugene the philosopher. He'll be quick to cite the fact that Americans are very enamored with doomsday prophecies. Um, Euros are not so convinced that the end is near, and it probably has to do with their culture being really, really old, thousands of years old. So it tends to give a culture a little bit more understanding of their own resilience. Uh, so yeah, I mean, Americans, we seem to like those doomsday prophecies. Plenty of prophets out there. Plenty of prophets out there telling us the end is near. Oh no! Do what I tell you. Do what I tell you and buy these products. Otherwise, you're doomed. Oh, you're so doomed. Oh, noes. Pardon me a second. I just have to open the curtains here because, plants. Plants. Yeah, plants. Yeah, I got potatoes. I got aloes. I got aloes coming out the you know what. So if you want one and you're a local viewer, let us know. All you got to do is give me a pot with soil in it, and I'll hook you up. Yeah, I'm not an aloe sponsor. I don't give away soil and pots, but I'll give away aloes because look at this one. It's ginormous. It's in a pot that I bought for a Christmas tree. So anyway, yeah. So we'll briefly talk space weather. I'll go over the number of sunspots and things like that. So bear with me here a minute, folks. I see some have joined us now, finally. Yeah, and thanks for tuning in to the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. For those of you who are new to the channel, press the subscribe button. Otherwise, you're not going to see the latest content, which is all sorts of stuff. We used to do almost exclusively space weather, and now we'll pretty much talk about any story if it is interesting to moi. So, yeah, that's how it works. Make sure you press the like button. I see 11 viewers and 1 like. So, I know it's early in the morning, but, are you one of those people who doesn't use a turn signal either? You can definitely press the like button. It's right there. So, yeah. So, now we're gonna be in the Smash studio here in just a moment. I'm just making some sustenance, and this is going to be a short stream today. We're only going to talk space weather. We had an interesting morning today. This morning, before the sun started to rise, it was dry out, dry and warm. And as soon as the sun rose, we had this interesting morning fog just kind of happened, and that's photo-induced fog. It's the weather was stagnant, and fog is a very interesting weather condition because it is precipitation, and what we mean by precipitation is rain, snow, sleet, or fog. Those 4 things, they all count as precipitation. You can make the argument that hail counts as well. Hey there, Faith's Vlogs. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, so fog is an interesting form of precipitation because what it means is that you've reached dew point, where relative humidity is 100%. And what dew point is when water is no longer able to be vapor. So, there are multiple factors that determine whether water is a liquid or a vapor. It's based on temperature, humidity, and atmospheric pressure. Those three things, they're like an equation. And if you have two of them, you can figure out the other one. Uh, that's just a little bit about how weather works. But what's interesting about fog is that it's a very fast condition. So if you're a bicyclist, fog is one of the fastest conditions that you can have, because what it means is that the air viscosity is extremely low. The main thing holding you back, every bicycle ridden outside is like a wind trainer, because the main thing that's slowing you down is air resistance. So rolling resistance does figure in. Your tires, skinnier tires, harder tires, stuff like that, changes your rolling resistance. But the main thing that holds you back is air resistance. And so when you have foggy conditions, it means two things. One, you're at 100% relative humidity, and there's only really one condition that's faster than that, and that's like a low pressure, like a hurricane, or like a racing in a hurricane is actually the ultimate condition. So shout out to Ollie at GCN. Like, we got to get together and have world record attempts ready for when hurricanes pass over tracks, because that's the perfect storm. If you're already at the track and the eye wall shows up when you're in the eye of the storm, that's actually the ultimate condition. That's where you would break world records, like, in all seriousness. And again, it's because the main thing holding you back is air resistance. I'm just shredding some Parmesan here for my eggs because I want a little bit of a zing. So, and I've got rye and pumpernickel to go with my eggs as well. Check it out. Legit Pennsylvania baked bread there. One slice of rye and one slice of pumpernickel is perfect. And we're not even breaking out the guacamole, but we are breaking out the energy drinks. And I'm not going to tell you which one, because I'm not paid to tell you which one yet. It's coming. Real endorsements. So yeah, 2026 will be an interesting year, folks. If you've been watching the channel a long time, congratulations. We've turned a few corners. So yeah, be right back. And today I'm not going to waste time by eating on camera. I will save that for after the stream, because I'm in a hurry. I got a lot of things to do today. A lot of things to do this year, week, month, and 2026. So yeah, sunspots. We've got quite a few, but they're not real exciting sunspots. They're pretty chill. So the likelihood of large solar flares, I don't think is that high, but we're gonna get into it and give you all the information you need for your space weather pleasure. All right, so I'm going into French fry mode. There we go. Congratulations, you have achieved French fry mode, where you are warmed up by infrared lights like a French fry. Good for your health, folks. Good for your health. Red light therapy. If you ain't got them, visit the links below the video. And hey, Jesus Green Amir. Going well. I mean, I still have the flu, and there's nothing better than the flu with no respiratory symptoms. So, yeah, all I got was a tongue coat, some fatigue, and a little brain fog. That's it. No major symptoms, nothing too debilitating. I just scaled back the exercise a little bit, and poof, that's what fitness does, folks. So yeah, what's up with you, Jesus? Just covering space weather real quick here, and just bringing up my info console so I can share the info. All right, bear with me a minute here, folks. This browser does take a minute to load because I have 77,000 tabs open. I'm exaggerating slightly for point. All right, so yeah, let's Talk sunspots. The current sunspot number is sunspot number is 121. 121. 121 sunspots. The radio flux, that is of the 10.7 centimeter variety, is currently at 148 solar flux units. So there's the radio flux. It is a proportional data set to sunspot number. If you're not aware, check it out here. I'll show you the cycles. Just bring up that space weather enthusiast dashboard. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the screen, you will find the cycles. So there's the sunspot progression and the 10.7 centimeter radio flux. You can see they are quite proportional indeed. As we head down the downturn of solar activity here in solar cycle 25 to solar minimum, where the polar fields become fixated at the heliographic poles. Next, we'll look at the real-time solar wind. At the moment, ACE plus Discover are returning about 2 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density, measured at Lagrangian 0.1. Solar wind velocity here nominal at 374 kilometers per second. Oh, we got a proton event. There we go. I was talking about proton events, and this is a pretty significant one here. So people like astronauts and polar flights have been exposed to some radiation recently. And we even got some greater than or equal to 50 mega electron volt spikes there. So mainly the low energy one there, greater than or equal to 10 mega electron volts. That's 10 million electron volts. And yeah, those are some high energy particles indeed. So spikes in the ghost proton flux there, likely induced by activity on that western limb. As far as solar flares, only C-class events for the past 24 hours. There's the one-day chart. Largest flare was, ooh, hey, check it out. That's pretty good there. So we had 2 long-duration flares there. Let's see what's going on as far as CMEs. I know there was one spectacular CME. That's coronal mass ejection, by the way. Jesus, you're asking questions that have nothing to do with the stream. That's why I'm not answering you. So yeah, we had some major CMEs here. And I believe those are not earthly directed. Let's take a little closer look here. We're going to go to stereo A. There is our stereo A imagery. Press auto update. Give me the latest. That looks ancient. All right, let's see if it's let's see what's going on there. Stereo A Core 2 Space Weather Beacon. There we are. And it looks like we ain't got no new data from it, so that's unfortunate. Sorry, no assistance from Stereo A there, but I don't believe those are earthly directed CMEs. Now, when we look at the solar filaments, that should actually tell us let's take a look at the magnetogram briefly, and then we'll look at filaments and sunspots. Here's our ground-based El-Teide National Sunspot Observatory magnetogram. And yeah, these are pretty mild sunspots here. So no big flare producers. Here's the latest El-Teide imagery. So quite a few sunspots here, but they're all fairly magnetically simple. They're fairly simple non-complex sunspots. Let's look at hydrogen alpha here briefly. I want to see filaments because that will help us to figure out. Oh, let's look at Cerro Tololo this time instead of El Teide. I like to mix it up. All right, now as you can see, we don't see any major filaments here erupting, but look at the number of filaments. That is an absolutely bonkers number of filaments there, folks. That is the El Teide ground-based hydrogen alpha telescope. So those dark features that you see on there, those are plasma filaments. So magnetic fields are extending those tens or even hundreds of thousands of kilometers up into the sun's atmosphere, and they are effectively blocking the hydrogen alpha imagery. So yeah, it's we have major filaments facing the Earth now. And keep in mind, folks, with filaments like these here, you do not need coronal mass ejections, sunspots, or solar flares. I mean, you don't need solar flares or sunspots for filaments to eject. Look at the size of some of these. So we have a very high likelihood of earthly directed space weather coming in the coming days. So that's always exciting. That's what we always like to hear. Um, and of course, we just uploaded a short associated with that. So, make sure you press that share button, folks. We're about ready to close this thing out. There's not really a lot else to cover here. We do have some coronal holes moving in. They are of North Pole orientation. Um, there is the line of sight coronal hole plot from the NSO data. North Pole oriented coronal holes rotating in here on your screen left, which would be the eastern limb, especially the southeastern limb, where the North Pole will find itself fixated at our next solar minimum. So electron storm has calmed down here a little bit. You're still going to see some GPS errors between 10 and 2, especially around the equator. But there you can see that electron storm subsiding when I show the 7-day chart. So that's pretty much it. We'll close the video out by letting the stream run for a minute here. Here is the latest. And let's hope some of these filaments are going to become unstable, blast off, and strike the Earth. That's what we're hoping for here at SNN, the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. But let us know in the comments what you're hoping for. And if you're spooked of space weather, let us know in the comments about that too. We find it adorable. Space, not spooky. You shouldn't be scared of it. But if people are making you scared of it, yeah, don't name them in the comments. They are blowing smoke up your. So we're just going to leave this stream here for a minute. So leave comments, tell your friends and foes. Again, press the share button. And we'll see you soon here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And until next time, may that solar wind be at your back.
What I meant to say, what I meant to say before I was unmuted was we're going to end it here. So thanks for tuning in, folks. If you're new to the channel, press subscribe, press like, and most importantly, press share. And we'll see you soon here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. And until next time, may that incoming solar wind be at your back.